Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. Now, before we get started, I do want to put another disclaimer here. We'll be talking about politics once again in today's video. I know on Saturday's video I said that this would probably be the last time you hear me talking about politics, but something came up that I think is very relevant to the current situation with wargaming and Ukraine, and it warrants being mentioned and attention brought to it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're not here for politics, go ahead and skip this video. Tomorrow's video, which was supposed to be today's video, is back to your normally scheduled World of Warships content. And again, unless something big like this happens again, it should still be going out as planned. But again, if you're not here for the political stuff, thanks for clicking on the video, and I'll see you in the next one. But anyway, with that disclaimer out the way, let's go ahead and get started. So, in Saturday's video, we were talking about the Russian invasion of Ukraine and how that might affect wargaming, and also we addressed the notion that by playing wargaming products, you are in some way, shape, or form supporting the Russian military. I gave you guys my 2 cents about that. We talked about how wargaming's set up as a corporation. They're not a Russian or Belarusian company anymore. They are a global company headquarters out of Cyprus. Yes, they got their start in Belarus, and yes, the Minsk office and the St. Petersburg office are two of their biggest offices in the world. Yes, that's absolutely true, but they are a global corporation that wants to do business with the entirety of the world if they possibly can, and I think what we see here today is more of that. So, if you haven't heard yet, a gentleman by the name of Sergey Burkatovsky, which you may better know as this guy. Yes, he is the man from the meme picture, the Russian bias laughing guy, is no longer working at Wargaming. So Sergey he was known as Serb on the forums, I believe. He mostly had to deal with World of Tanks. He was the creative director of Wargaming, and he made a Facebook post in regards to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, saying this: I support the operation of the armed forces of the Russian Federation and the DPR and the LPR. The rest are nuances. Now, this quote may not be 100% on, because this is from a Polish website that I'm assuming translated this from Russian into Polish and is now being translated into English. So the exact wording may not be 100% correct, but from what I've seen from the Russian-speaking forums and stuff, it's pretty much generally along the same lines. So he posted that to Facebook, and that post very quickly disappeared. Then Wargaming made a statement about this. Sergey is an employee of the company and expressed his personal opinion, which categorically does not coincide with the position of the company. All of our forces are now focused on helping our over 550 colleagues from Kiev and their families. So if you don't know, Wargaming has an office in Kiev, which right now is under attack by the Russian military. The Kiev office is the office that develops World of Warplanes. Now, after Wargaming made that statement, 2 hours later, Sergey posted to Facebook once again, noting that he had parted ways with Wargaming. And this editorial that I'm reading from, the Ricochet, which is a Polish editorial that covers World of Warships, World of Tanks, War Thunder, Armored Warfare, all our lovely, jubbly military combat vehicle games. They asked Wargaming for a statement, and this is what Wargaming responded with. Sergey's opinion is in complete contradiction with the company's position. He is no longer an employee of Wargaming. So that statement. Sergey's opinion is in complete contradiction with the company's position. He is no longer an employee of Wargaming. So let's think about that for a second. If Wargaming really was this almost extension of the Russian government, like some players would have you believe, and if you think I'm overstated that, go look at some of the comments from Saturday's video where I simply said, Wargaming is a global company. They're not really, a Russian or Belarusian company anymore. That's where they started out as, but now, their headquarters in Cyprus. They have offices all over the world. I mean, again, they have an office in Kiev right now. they're a global company. They're not just focused on Russia. They're not trying to gain Putin's favor, and Putin probably may not even know that they exist as a company. Really, a extension of the Russian government, as some would have you believe, would not do this. They wouldn't make this man remove his Facebook post and then lead to some confrontation with him to where he was fired or forced to resign, or in some way, shape, or form led to this man leaving the company. If anything, they would have let him keep the post up if they were trying to gain brownie points with Vladimir Putin. And before some of you get commenting, I'm not a CC. I'm not affiliated with Wargaming in any way, shape, or form. I've talked to someone from Wargaming one time. I talked to Hoppa when we had some funky stuff going on with some connectivity issues with clan battles. One time, I think like a year and a half ago. Other than that, I've had zero communication from anyone from Wargaming, besides like customer support. I don't receive any type of funding from them to do the ship reviews or anything like that. All that stuff is purchased through donations from Patreon and through ad revenue from the channel. So I'm completely independent of Wargaming. So I'm not trying to earn brownie points with them either. I'm just looking at this from a business standpoint and from a common sense standpoint. So another big thing about this is that do remember that Lesta Studios is in Russia, in St. Petersburg. Like we discussed yesterday too, Russians at the moment, at least a very good chunk of them, aren't in support of this conflict. I believe a couple hundred more were arrested over the last day or so, protesting Vladimir Putin's decision to invade Ukraine. This isn't a country where you can freely express your unsatisfaction with the government, especially with Vladimir Putin. It's essentially a dictatorship underneath Putin. And again, this isn't something that the Russian people want. There's a significant difference between the Russian government and the Russian people in this situation, which really surprises me that Wargaming went and put these statements out here and either fired, forced to resign, or confronted Serb in this way. Because again, that's a really good way. Criticizing Vladimir Putin is a really good way to get your door kicked in by an FSB agent in the middle of the night in Vladimir Putin's Russia. So, yeah. Now, remember, this is a global corporation. They want as many people as possible to have access to their products, to buy their products, to play their products, and to spend money on their products. So that's why Wargaming has probably been silent for as long as they have been, and probably will continue to be silent for the duration of this conflict. This statement right here, we at least get a little insight into what HQ believes. I don't think we'll see any more than this. I mean, they even said that their main focus is just ensuring the safety of their employees in Kiev, which is a good thing to be focused on for the company. And with the new and upcoming sanctions now, going back to talking about, well, is your money really going to the Russian government? With the way things are looking, it doesn't look like your money is going to have any possible way to get to Russia in the next few days if what's happening right now, which is Russia's starting to get kicked out of SWIFT. I think some banks have already been sanctioned from SWIFT, and with the way things are going, it's probably going to be a complete cutoff, and it's looking like those hard sanctions that we talked about with Belarus are also going to be dropped down on Belarus as well. So there really won't be any way that your money right now gets to Russia. I mean, look, like I said in yesterday's video, it's your money, you do what you want with it. If you feel there's some way that, Wargaming could sneak your money into Russia and then that money gets taxed by the Russian government and it goes to fund the Russian military, absolutely. Don't spend money on the game. But again, the reality is that Russia's economy is mostly natural gas and oil and energy. That's the main sector of their economy. That's something like 30% of their economy, which is a significant portion. So if you really want to stick it to Russia, especially if you live in Europe, because you guys get 40% of your oil and natural gas from Russia, stop driving your car, start walking, start riding a bike, start taking public transport. That'll have a much bigger effect on Russia than simply not playing one game. I mean, and that's the truth. That is, because this game it's $1 billion company, but I mean, you got to remember on a federal governmental level, especially for a country the size of Russia, $1 billion is less than what? I know for its size, Russia has a relatively small GDP, but let's see this real quick. Yeah, Russia's GDP at the moment is $1.4 trillion, and that's okay, so that's 2020, so that's last year. It's probably a little bit less at the moment. And Wargaming is a $1 billion company, but again, Wargaming HQ is in Cyprus. And again, that's where most of that money stays. So the tax revenue that the Russian government gets from the Lesta Studios and the Moscow office of Wargaming is wholly insignificant to their overall tax revenue. But again, it's your money. You do what you want with it. I'm not going to tell you what to do with it one way or the other. I'm just giving you the information so that you can make an informed decision for yourself. Again, with the sanctions, there's a very, very slim chance that your money is going to be making it to Wargaming in St. Petersburg or Moscow, and even if it does, it's a fairly insignificant portion of the tax revenue that the Russian government collects. But you guys are adults. You do what you want with it. Just want to give you guys my 2 cents on the topic and keep you informed with the developments with Wargaming finally breaking their silence over this conflict. So you guys do what you want with your money and do what you want with your copy of the game. If you want to uninstall off of your PC, go ahead and do that too. It's all up to you guys. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And again, unless something nutty happens in the next couple of hours, tomorrow's video should be back to our normal What Are Warships content. Hope you have a great week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.